Nicole Valeza from grade 10 St.BENEDICT, and today we are all here to talk about gun control. The mainstream issue today is about theft. We are here to find out more about gun and gun control, depending on what, when, where, and how it will be used. So let's get started. Gun control. Is it for war or for peace? Guns. What comes into your mind when you hear the word gun? Is it a deadly weapon or instrument of peace? Normally, when we hear and talk about gun, many things comes running into our minds, right? Many emotions were also felt. When we hear the word gun, we either think of it as a scare, prank, weapon, props, etc. But we're talking about limiting guns in the hands of private citizens like terrorists, rebels, militaries, policemen, etc. We start calling it arms control. But in other way, it also means death. A gun is a weapon with a metal tube from which a projectile is released when explosive. Gun. One word that can take lives from hundreds of thousands of people just by pulling the trigger. Guns also have different types and uses. Types of guns include shotguns, pistols, machine guns, bazookas, and others. Guns also have different uses like fighting for country, killing people, self-defense, pranks for movies and televisions, shootings and paintings. A gun has its own advantages and disadvantages, depending on how it will be used. For example, if you use it for your own defense, like using it for revenge, of course, many people will suffer. How will you use and control it? But the real question is it for war or for peace? I've tried asking people their opinion about our topic today. Some say it is for the stability of our country. Some say it is for safety, that's why it's for peace. Some say it is for dirty tricks and violent actions, that's why it's for war. Majority of what I've heard is for war. Totally agree with the people who answered that. Why? Because some of us don't know the true difference of gun and gun control. Recent stories in social media reveal a great need for gun control. Hundreds of people are getting killed from stray bullets every year, coming from people who are illegally shooting a gun just for their own good and leisure. Even children and innocent people are getting involved. People nowadays are being reasonable of the things that they do and say. Guns are for wars because we use it in seeking revenge to our enemies, for killing people, innocent or not, for their own benefit, and many more. Let's set an explanation for these types. Guns are for wars. Majority of the listeners answered. For example, when I shot somebody and he or she got killed and a police saw me, he still has that opportunity to shoot me because I killed somebody. And when another person saw the police shot me, he or she may kill the police just by pulling the trigger from his gun. Killing is like a never-ending cycle. Guns are for wars because it can cause death to thousands of people. It can cause an argument between two parties. It is sometimes used for violent actions and others. The rifle itself has no moral structure since it has no will of its own. Guns may be used by evil persons for evil purposes, but there are more good men than evil. And while the latter cannot be persuaded to the path of righteousness by the people who are in a higher position, they can definitely be corrected by good men with the same weapon and rifles. As I said in the second paragraph, rather, killing is like a never-ending cycle. Honestly, when we try to hold a gun, we're tempted to try shooting it, right? What we never know is when we get used to using it, we can try pointing it to other people because they're in for an adventure. And that adventure is to try and kill a person because we want to try something new. Sometimes holding a gun never causes good happenings. Yes, gun is for control, but we should need to learn how to use it properly because we never know what can happen. Anyone can shoot a gun, but the real power comes from the non-violent means. Let's take a look on the brighter side of our topic. Conversation is needed at every level regarding ways to learn more about gun control. to prevent more deaths to come caused by guns. We realize that gun control will not stop all the violence, but it would be a step in the right direction to create a peaceful environment. It would also be helpful to have planning sessions to come up with some workable solutions and a budget for peace building, and not just for continuing the multiple wars in which we are all involved. Wars never make progress toward peace. Killing was never a solution for having peace also. How can gun control programs keep guns out of the hands of the youth, the ill, and others who lack responsibility for those around them? How can we prevent killing? Children must learn how to relate in peaceful ways and cooperatively. Younger people or adolescents need help to get out of their gangs, fraternities, and into more productive activities, where crime isn't involved. What they are looking for is a sense of belonging in caring communities and adults to be a role model for them. In the end, gun is still an object that can be used for good or for evil. This is not to say that there is no moral component to the issue. Obviously, the gun itself is amoral. It can be used for good or evil purposes. More important is the morality of the person holding the gun. And that is too often the missing consideration in the gun control argument. The fact that some sinners use guns to commit sin does not mean guns are the problem. The person is the problem. Why? Because he or she is the one holding the weapon. The gun is just an object. It will not move and kill on its own. For me, the people who are owning a gun should just be the persons who are working in keeping the society safe and at peace. Guns degrade the society, they don't liberate it. At present, gun control is on the minds of many people in our nation. This is a good time to discuss the issue and work out plans to help resolve it. No effort is too small to make a difference. May the Spirit guide us in our daily lives for peacemaking and help us realize God's plan for each of us and for our world. Let us rejoice that God's power working in us can make it happen. So that's all for today. Thank you for listening.